Hey folks, it's Dan Fisher here with Menemsha Group. I hope you're doing well and thank you for tuning in. Just want to take a couple of quick minutes and share with you some insight that I've learned over the years with regards to building a scalable sales organization and a scalable recruiting organization. And what I mean by that, specifically the challenges of building a scalable sales and a scalable recruiting organization. So, um, so over the last, I guess about 11 years or so now, I've had the opportunity of working with about 450 different IT staffing firms across the country and have gone in, to help out in a variety of different ways, whether it's implementing and rolling out a sales methodology and a sales process, or facilitating a sales training or a recruiter training program, or getting involved in, management training program. But one of the things that we've seen in that time is most IT staffing firms, and when I say most, I'm like 80% or more, have a sales organization and a recruiting organization that is indicative of what I like to call the superhero model. And what I mean by that is they're really overly reliant on just one or two key individuals or 20% of their top performers. So what we found is when you look at a sales team and a recruiting team in relevance to quota attainment, it always falls into a bell curve. So you have a big bell curve, that a sales organization and recruiting organization fall into. Out to the right of the bell curve are the top performers. These are the people that are hitting, 85, 90%, 100%, and even over 100% of quota attainment. So these are the superstars. They figured it out. They're doing really, really well. Meanwhile, however, back over to the left, in the bell curve and to the left of the bell curve is the other 80% of the sales organization or the other 80% of the recruiting organization. And what we see is typically 60% of those folks fit into the actual bell curve. And the bell curve is people who are achieving between 40 and 60% of quota attainment. And then to the left of the bell curve is the other 20% of the sales organization, or again, the other 20% of the recruiting organization. These are people that are achieving anywhere between 0 and 30% of quota attainment. So the problem that presents is despite your top performers who are killing it and have figured it out, all of their wonderful work is getting canceled out by the other 80% of the organization. While the top performers are doing really, really well, the other 80% of the organization, salespeople and recruiters, they're just trying to figure things out. So literally every single day, they're basically running experiments, trying to figure out who to call, what to say, what to put in an email, what to put in a voicemail, how to respond to a frequently asked question or an objection. And they're just trying to figure things out. And so that, of course, becomes a really inefficient way to run an organization. And so what we spend a lot of our time on is trying to help organizations figure out how to build a sales organization and a recruiting organization that achieves scalable, sustainable, repeatable, and even predictable revenue growth. And so for me, when I think about a sales organization or a recruiting organization that can do those things, one of the key components that I think of and that I've learned is it's really about the de-emphasis of the individual. Because when you become overly reliant on one individual, your whole business becomes hitched to that one person. And that, of course, is not a good place to be. So let's just take a look at McDonald's, for example. So, or any successful chain for that matter. So whether I go into McDonald's in Los Angeles or McDonald's in New York or Hong Kong or wherever it may be, I know that I'm going to get the exact same customer experience. When I walk in the door, the surroundings around me, the way that I'm greeted at the desk or the cashier, and then of course the product that I get. And so, but imagine when Ray Kroc started this business, imagine if every cook or line chef was allowed to just cook hamburgers, their own way and do their own recipe. Do you think they'd, achieve 40 billion served or whatever it is today? Probably not. Do just another example with also within the food and restaurant business. Think about a top chef like an Emeril Lagasse or a Mario Batali or whoever it may be. They've got restaurants all over the world. So Emeril Lagasse. He has restaurants in Louisiana, in New Orleans, and Las Vegas, and elsewhere. What's amazing about what these top chefs have done is whether I go to his restaurant in New Orleans or Vegas or anywhere else, again, I know I'm going to get a wonderful experience. I'm going to get an amazing meal. But here's the thing, there's only one Emeril Lagasse. So how is it possible to get that same amazing meal even when he's not there? He's not in the restaurant that night cooking. And so when I talk with business owners and staffing leaders about building a sales organization that scales and achieves repeatable and predictable revenue, what I'm really talking about is cloning your top performers. No, I don't have a magic cloning machine to clone human beings if it were only that simple. But there is a way that you can clone your top performers and replicate the things that they do to make themselves so successful so that the rest of the organization can follow suit and you can actually accelerate the growth of your organization. I'm going to create another short little video and I'm going to share with you a handful of tips of what you guys can do as business owners to actually do that and achieve that.